It started as nothing more than a flicker, barely a whisper in the data, a cold, silent speck moving far faster than anything that should have been out there. Observatories from Chile to Hawaii picked it up first, their alerts flooding in almost simultaneously before space agencies stepped forward to confirm it. An object unregistered, unknown, and most disturbingly, coming from beyond our solar system. At first glance, it looked like just another comet, a wandering traveler from the void. But then the anomalies began to stack up. Its velocity was off the charts, its path unnervingly precise, and its surface reflecting light in ways no natural body ever could. And when scientists traced its route backward through the darkness, they realized it wasn't just passing through. It was heading straight for the beating heart of our planetary neighborhood. The James Webb Space Telescope turned its gaze toward it, and what it began to reveal was not just unprecedented. It was something we may not be prepared for, because if it's not just a visitor, if it's something watching us, the entire definition of deep space might be about to change forever. Between July 1st and July 5th, the Atlas tracking system locked onto it, a mysterious interstellar object that would be named 3I/Atlas. But unlike the countless icy wanderers catalogued over the years, 3I/ATLAS defied every expectation. It was moving at over 210,000 kilometers per hour, yet it followed no known orbital path. And when its origin was backtracked, it didn't point to the Oort cloud, or even the farthest reaches near Pluto. Instead, it came from deep interstellar space, a region so remote it had likely been traveling for billions of years before entering our cosmic neighborhood. The timing was the first red flag. Before 2017, humanity had never detected an interstellar object. In the short years since, we've encountered 3, and each one has been stranger, faster, and more baffling than the last. The first in 2017 was elongated and moved with unexplained acceleration. The second in 2019 was faster and more volatile. And now 3I/ATLAS, brighter, more precise, and far more unsettling. The James Webb's instruments began dissecting its light signature, but the data only deepened the mystery. The object's reflected brightness suggested it should be massive, yet scans showed it was surprisingly small. This contradiction hinted at a surface unlike anything natural, more akin to polished metal than ice, cold, yet highly reflective, possibly even hollow. Astrophysicists who had speculated that earlier visitors could have been artificial immediately raised the same concern here. Look for non-gravitational acceleration, they urged, because if it was propelling itself, that meant intent. From the start, 3I/ATLAS seemed to be a cosmic hybrid, combining the inexplicable acceleration of the first with the comet-like inbound trajectory of the second, yet fitting neatly into neither category. Its motion was deliberate, almost surgical. It didn't tumble chaotically like a natural fragment. It rotated with unnerving symmetry, one side consistently absorbing more heat than the other, as if it had a thermal shield deliberately engineered for protection. Webb's sensitive thermal sensors detected a faint constant signature, structured, not random. And then came the most unsettling discovery. It was adjusting its course in small, precise increments without any detectable jets of gas, dust, or debris that would explain such changes. This wasn't a drifting comet being nudged by sunlight. This was something steering. Spectral analysis from advanced space centers shattered any remaining assumptions. The readings showed carbon-based compounds in arrangements far more consistent with advanced engineering than with natural geology. Complex electromagnetic fluctuations hinted at internal compartments or layered structures hidden beneath its surface. This was no mere lump of cosmic debris. It was a machine, and if it was a machine, it meant it had a maker. At this point, whispers began circulating among scientists across continents, whispers that spoke not of what it was, but of who had sent it and why. Then, without warning, the flow of information stopped. Agencies that had been sharing updates, major space organizations, abruptly sealed their data behind closed networks. Public databases froze, observation logs went dark, and even telescope access for independent researchers began encountering technical restrictions. Journalists probing for answers were met with redacted documents and carefully worded statements that seemed more like damage control than science. This sudden blackout ignited a new theory, that something had been found, something too disruptive to release without careful consideration. In space, silence can be more revealing than any official statement. If 3I over ATLAS was truly artificial, its existence could upend more than just astronomy. It could challenge politics, global security, and humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. For centuries, the night sky had been indifferent, vast, and empty. Now, in the span of a few years, it seemed to be filling with purposeful visitors. Some scientists quietly speculated about patterns. 3 interstellar objects in under a decade, each stranger than the last. Was this random, or was it the slow, deliberate unfolding of a plan? And if so, was 3I/ATLAS the next phase, or the final one? As James Webb continued its silent vigil, a darker, more unsettling hypothesis began to take hold among those still analyzing the trickle of data. What if 3I/ATLAS wasn't simply passing through? What if it had been waiting, triggered to become detectable only once humanity reached a certain threshold of technology? Its exact arrival, at this precise moment, in our advancement, seemed too perfect to dismiss. For billions of years, the galaxy had been silent. Then, almost immediately after we developed tools capable of detecting objects from deep space, something appears. Quiet, deliberate, and impossibly precise. This didn't feel like a message. It felt like an evaluation. A probe not here to talk, but to observe, maybe even to judge. The more data Webb collected, the more questions replaced answers. Was it mapping our planets, studying our defenses, or was it simply watching to see what we would do? The thought that chilled scientists the most wasn't that we had found something, it was that something had found us, and had possibly been waiting for this moment all along. As engineers and astrophysicists began to dig deeper into Webb's high-resolution data, they noticed patterns that couldn't be dismissed as coincidence. The reflective properties of 3I/ATLAS's surface varied in a way that resembled adaptive shielding, capable of altering its thermal signature depending on its orientation toward the sun. This wasn't random. This was controlled heat management, something spacecraft designers on Earth spend decades perfecting. The object's rotation period was consistent, almost clockwork, suggesting a stabilization system at work, perhaps gyroscopic in nature, hidden beneath its metallic shell. Even more alarming were intermittent bursts of narrowband electromagnetic emissions, faint but detectable, pulsing at irregular intervals. To the untrained eye, they were noise. To specialists in communications technology, they bore resemblance to data packets transmissions, but to where and to whom. The deeper the analysis went, the more the line between natural and constructed blurred until the evidence tilted heavily toward the latter. And that left one unavoidable reality. If 3I/ATLAS was built, it was built by something or someone out there. Tracking its trajectory backward through interstellar space proved challenging, but the effort yielded yet another layer of intrigue. Its path didn't align with any known stellar system in our local neighborhood, as if it had been drifting or traveling through empty space for tens of thousands of years. No home star, no clear point of launch. This raised an even stranger possibility. 3I/ATLAS might not have been aimed at us at all, at least not originally. It could be part of a much larger network of probes released into the galaxy ages ago, silently cataloguing whatever civilizations they encountered. If that were true, then it wasn't just us under the microscope. Every species with the means to spot such objects might already have been visited. And that begged the question, why reveal themselves to us now? Was it a cosmic accident that our instruments caught it? Or had the moment been engineered? The timing gnawed at researchers because it seemed almost scripted, as if the universe, or something within it, had been waiting for the curtain to rise. Inside government labs and space agency control rooms, the debate wasn't about whether 3I/ATLAS was real. It was about what to do next. Some argued for direct active scanning, to send a powerful radar pulse or laser communication toward it, hoping for a response. Others warned this could be catastrophic, likening it to shouting into a dark forest without knowing who or what was listening. The James Webb team, though officially neutral, continued to push for silent observation, quietly mapping every subtle change in the object's speed, spin, and thermal output. Behind closed doors, the question loomed. Were we prepared for the consequences of acknowledging its presence? And if it was already aware of us and intentionally watching, would any action we took make a difference? The tension was palpable, because the wrong move could turn a silent observer into something far less passive. Then came the anomaly that would fracture even the most cautious scientific minds. In early data from Webb's infrared instruments, analysts spotted a faint, repeating heat fluctuation so precise it formed a mathematical sequence. Not random, not chaotic, but patterned, almost like an encoded signal written in temperature variations. The sequence was prime number based, a signature that in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence has long been considered a hallmark of artificial origin. If this was deliberate, then 3I/ATLAS wasn't just observing, it was communicating, albeit in a language far subtler than radio waves. And that realization sent ripples of unease across every team, still privy to the data. Because if the message was intentional, then there was no denying it. Something out there knew we were watching, and it had chosen this exact moment to answer. In the end, as 3I/ATLAS continued its silent, unwavering journey deeper into our solar system, the truth became impossible to ignore. This was no chance encounter. Whether it was a probe from an ancient civilization, a relic of a technology older than humanity itself, or something beyond even our most advanced theories, one fact remained. It was here. It was deliberate, and it had chosen its moment with unnerving precision. The James Webb Space Telescope, designed to peer back in the time, billions of years, had instead forced us to confront the here and now, an encounter not with distant galaxies, but with something sharing our present. For decades, We have gazed into the void, believing ourselves the explorers, the seekers, the observers. But 3I/ATLAS has inverted that perspective. Maybe we have never truly been alone. Maybe we have never even been the ones doing the watching. And as governments lock away their data, as the last trickle of information vanishes behind classified walls, one question echoes louder than any other. If this was their way of introducing themselves, then what comes next? Because perhaps the most terrifying part isn't that we've been found. It's that this could only be the beginning. But the revelations didn't stop with the initial scans. As 3I/ATLAS drew closer, its hyperbolic path, steeper than any before, with an eccentricity that screamed escape from another star, began to unfold more secrets. The object's speed, clocking in at a hyperbolic excess of 58 kilometers per second, wasn't just fast, it was calibrated, as if optimized for a slingshot through our system. It would skim past Mars, graze Venus's orbit, and swing perilously close to Jupiter, using each planet's gravity in a sequence so improbably aligned that the odds of it happening by chance hovered around 1 in 20,000. Natural comets wander. This one maneuvered, threading the needle of our planetary alignments with a precision that evoked engineered gravity assists, the kind humanity employs for deep space missions. Webb's near-infrared spectrograph, turned upon it on August 6th, captured not just light, but a full chemical portrait, revealing water ice, carbon dioxide, cyanide, and complex organics frozen in time for perhaps 7 billion years, older than our own solar system. Yet amid these familiar volatiles, discrepancies emerged. The coma, that hazy envelope of gas and dust, extended farther than expected, and its composition showed arrangements of molecules too orderly, too layered, as if assembled rather than accreted in the chaos of a distant protoplanetary disk. The dust ejection rates, 6 kilograms per second of fine particles, 60 of larger ones, seemed regulated, not erratic, maintaining a balance that kept the object's brightness anomalously steady, despite its approach to the sun. Then there was the tail, or rather, the tails. While outbound comets typically trail dust and gas behind them, 3I/ATLAS displayed a bizarre inward tail, pointing sunward in defiance of solar wind dynamics. This anti-tail phenomenon, rare in natural bodies, suggested something counteracting the expected forces, perhaps an internal mechanism venting material in controlled bursts, mimicking propulsion without the telltale plume. Infrared data hinted at sublimation, starting at distances where water shouldn't vaporize, over 6 astronomical units out, implying hypervolatiles or an artificial heat source buried within. These weren't mere quirks. They were deviations that stacked, each one pulling the narrative away from randomness toward design. As the data accumulated, the philosophical weight pressed heavier. If 3I/ATLAS originated from the galaxy's thick disk, near the bustling core where stars are ancient and metal poor, its journey might span epochs predating Earth's formation. But why intersect our system now at the dawn of our exoplanet hunting era? The alignment with the ecliptic plane, our planet's orbital flatness, was too neat, increasing the detection probability exponentially, as if timed for eyes like Webb's to catch it. Emerging theories posited it as a relic from a vast dispersal event, probes seeded eons ago to awaken upon sensing technological signals, our radio waves and satellite glints serving as the trigger. The spectral fingerprint, complete and unyielding, showed silicates and organics in ratios unseen in solar comets, hinting at formation around a star unlike our Sun, perhaps one long extinct. Yet the absence of certain expected volatiles, coupled with the precise rotational stability at 16 hours, evoked comparisons to stabilized satellites, not tumbling rocks. Electromagnetic scans, though faint, captured those pulsed emissions again, their irregularity masking potential encoding, a subtle handshake across the void. Debates intensified in sealed forums. To probe actively risked provocation, yet passivity invited oversight. What if its close flybys weren't coincidental, but reconnaissance, mapping gravitational fields and atmospheric compositions up close? The inward tail could be exhaust, the coma, a camouflage, the adjustments mid-course corrections. And the prime sequence in thermal variances, repeating undeniable, shifted from anomaly to invitation, a universal mathematical beacon saying, "We see you seeing us." In this unfolding drama, 3I/ATLAS embodies the cosmos's dual nature, awe-inspiring in its vastness, terrifying in its intimacy. It forces a reckoning with isolation's illusion, suggesting the galaxy teems not with silence, but with patient watchers. As it hurtles toward perihelion, shedding layers that might reveal more, the blackout deepens, data hoarded against panic or paradigm shift. Yet the implications cascade. If artificial, it affirms life's ubiquity. If natural, it expands our understanding of cosmic wanderers. Either way, it reshapes humanity's narrative, from lone sentinels to participants in a grander dialogue. The James Webb, with its golden mirrors piercing the infrared veil, has unveiled not just an image, but a mirror reflecting our curiosity back through the lens of the unknown. In capturing 3I/ATLAS, it captures our era's pivot, from wondering if we're alone to wondering what company we keep. And as the object swings past Jupiter, accelerating outward forever, it leaves a trail not of dust, but of questions. What ancient hand launched it? What eyes, if any, peer back through its sensors? The void, once empty, now pulses with potential, reminding us that discovery's thrill walks hand in hand with the unknown's shadow. This interstellar interloper, whether rock or relic, heralds a new chapter, where the stars above whisper secrets we're only beginning to hear.